Hey, I want to talk to you guys about this outreach about plants and what's going on with the shake and bake and things we heard. And this is Neighborhood Crime Watch and also robberies in the past. If you see somebody doing something suspicious activity around the vehicle, battery, acid, things like this, in the Midwest, what happens and how I noticed this is because I lived in the Midwest, 15 minutes from the meth capital of the world. So obviously, when I see that meth is showing up in our neighborhood, there's some things you can need to pay attention to. Lock up your bikes, lock up your things, make sure that there's no way that somebody can rip you off and rob you, especially if you're at the three-quarter houses and you're trying to stay straight. There are some people that I talked to in recovery who have had issues with people ripping them off. So there's another way to look at it. When you see these things, report it or talk to your sponsor, because really a lot of people are bringing drugs into the rehabs or bringing drugs onto the hospital properties, and it's absolutely important. Some other things I notice, if somebody's stealing somebody's battery or anything happening, just contact somebody, ask questions. They might be looking for help. A lot of times kids don't understand what's happening around them, and it's usually because somebody's either got drug paraphernalia, and usually when the police officers stop somebody, they do search and they do canine searches. Now, I can tell when somebody's eyes are dilated. I can also tell when somebody's upset and shocked. So it's obvious when somebody's car is stolen or missing items, usually has something to do with somebody's doing some drugs or doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. And most of the time, when things go missing, it's a pretty good indication that somebody's been doing drugs. And a lot of times what I notice is some people were nodding out, and there's some things you could do. Contact, instead of bringing someone to your house and things like that, the best thing to do is just talk to a sponsor or talk to somebody at the meetings about finding out about a 12-step call, and maybe calling Gateway, because here's the difference. If somebody's smoking and doing drugs, there's probably more going on there, and it might not be something you need to get involved in. It's just the point. If there's drugs involved and they're on hospital property, just call security. It's just that simple. We got to the point where the drugs and the stealing and ripping people off just got to a point where we have to do the right thing. Call the security, tell the security desk that you notice some behaviors, someone's acting weird, and they're around somebody's vehicle. We've had stolen batteries in the past. We've had stolen items before, especially battery acid. That's a biggie. Shake and bake. If you notice, if you're in the wooded area and you notice something doesn't seem right, a Pepsi bottle, there's a lot of people that make a lot of their drugs and they put it in the woods, so pay attention. Especially meth. And I've talked to these individuals. They'll tell you the same thing. Once they get hooked on meth, they don't really care. They'll steal it gets pretty out of hand. So pay attention, really. Just look out for each other and talk, because we've had vehicles and property missing before, and it's usually because somebody's probably most likely pawned it off, and that's why we're talking to everybody. If you hear somebody pawning somebody else's stuff and somebody has a stolen bike or stolen property, talk to the police about the pawn shops and go and just keep word on the street, because usually and this is the case. This has been the case since we dealt with as individuals on our porch the last time. If they start showing up in your area, make a phone call. You have an anonymous tip line, and it's important. So thank you for listening. Yeah.